meeting minutes from February 28th, 2024. Have you guys had a chance to review those meeting minutes?
I have.
Yes.
Okay. Is
Clearly
there,
was read.
okay, a movement? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes carried. Thank you. Second agenda item. Act on 2024-06 for an applied wall sign at 7625 Main Street. Can you, Ms. Donna, could you come up to the podium
I
and
certainly can.
sure present your application?
So I am Donna Full. I am the daughter of Calvin and Eileen Day, and I am the sister of Mickey Day, who unfortunately left us on January the 2nd. So
Sorry to hear.
we're making it through it. But anyway, I am just simply, what I would like to do is to replace this ugly farm and home sign with something new. That's and so there it is, and I don't know whether you had it, it's kind of hard, but anyway, we had Shannon Baum, which I know does a lot of signs for here, do one that looks like that. And that's what we're proposed to do, if you guys would approve of it.
And is that one long sheet of wordage? It says on here it has 244 width by 96 height.
Right.
Applied letters, or is that just on a sheet product?
I think it is, so it is acrylic letters, graphic with mounting template.
I'm just wondering if it's on an applied template, because the base of the building is concrete block, correct?
That's right, right. So it says it's gonna, let's see. Yes, so it says a 1/2-inch thick stud mounted custom painted flat cut acrylic letters and graphic
Okay.
with mounting template. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's what we're hoping to do.
Okay. Questions?
It looks beautiful. Looks nice.
Lovely.
I think so.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve application 2024-6 for application of a new wall sign at 7625 Main Street.
Okay. All in favor?
I'm sorry, could we get a second on that motion?
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for coming in this evening.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Item number 3 on the agenda is act on 2024-07 for applied wall sign or sidewalk repair at 6935 Warfield Avenue. Now, are you presenting for the signage this evening as well, Jonathan?
Yeah,
Can you come up to the podium?
the counsel for Zeteo, who is the company that wants the signs, asked if I could call him and put him on speakerphone so he could participate.
Sure. I don't see a problem with that.
I'll put my phone up over here and then he can hear
Sure.
you and maybe hear me. And that way he
Is
can
that,
chime in, because this, believe it or not, got more complicated.
Is that Michael McLaughlin you calling?
This is Roger Lerner.
Okay.
Hi.
Roger?
Yeah.
You're on speakerphone. I've just been introduced to present the sign request to the Historic District Commission.
Okay.
So I'm going to start presenting, and then you can kind of chime in. How's that?
Okay. Hang on 1 second.
Said he was going on.
Okay. I'm all yours. Go ahead.
Okay. So I have a 45-year lease on the G building, and Mr. Lerner is counsel for Zeteo. Zeteo is asked to get signs put on the building, and I found out just about an hour ago from Steve McLeaf that we need to get approval from the Land Condominium Association and the Property Owners Association for any signage or sidewalk work that we do. So I'm presenting this to you for your opinion. You don't necessarily have to approve it tonight, because if they don't approve it, then your approval is not going to help us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You get that, Roger?
Could you
I
hear?
did.
Yeah.
We didn't know about this other requirement, but so we thought it would be better to just go ahead with you, give you all the information, and take it from there.
Okay.
Okay, so what's being presented currently, Roger, on the screen is the little Zateo Tech sign that goes alongside the front door. And I don't think anyone's gonna have any big problems with that. It's, I think it even says on there, it's a 1/2 inch thick black PVC backer mounted to aluminum with overlay sign, and the letters are supposed to be 1/2 inch thick. So, any questions?
No.
So there'll be one sign next to the front door, and then they have a back door, similar looking door, and that would go there. So we'll move on to the next item, which is the big sign that goes on the front of their building. And there's this pediment on the front of the building that looks like it was built for a sign. And so everyone said, well, we should put a sign there. Well, when I spoke with the representative of the Landowners Association and Proctor, he informed me, which is something I knew, which is that their guidelines say that you're not supposed to have any sign above the cornice of the building, okay? And I do have another alternative to this sign, but we don't feel it's as attractive. But if they can't approve this sign, then I'll show you what the alternative is, okay? But anyway, I would also like your input when you see...
Yeah, John.
Yes.
So the heart of it is we understand their rule and the rule about not having anything above the building. We get that, but because there's this pediment built for the sign, we think that, anybody who actually looks at it, thinks about it, in terms of what you want to make the building look its best and preserve the historic character, that you actually want to use what's there rather than blindly follow some rule that says you can't be above the cornice. I mean, there's X number of buildings in that place, and probably very few of them have this pediment. So it's I guess from our point of view, we'll do whatever everybody insists we do, but from our point of view, it seems to make sense to use some judgment rather than just blindly applying the rule. Anyway,
I'm about to show everybody the sign between the two windows. Okay, so this is the other option for a sign as compared to that.
Same sign but lower?
Similar, this one's a little wider, this is 8 feet wide. It's wider. I do have one that's narrower.
Jonathan, do you have any pictures of existing pictures of the building and what that pediment was used
I do,
for?
and
Was
I
it
think-
a date of the
So
inception of the building?
the building was 1927.
Mm-hmm.
And it says that over the first, go back to the first picture. You can kind of see it, it's in Roman numerals above the door here, like to the left, and twist this around. There you go, it's in Roman numerals,
Yeah.
1927. So that's the date of the building. And the point of this pediment is that ever since I saw this building, I was always like, well, I wonder, and I'll pass these around. These are 3 different pictures of the pediment. I always thought, well, I wonder why they put that pediment up there. I mean, it's a kind of an unusual looking, no other building at Warfield has it, and I don't see that very often anywhere else. And it just seemed to me to be a nice place to put a sign. So this process is gonna, how can I say, have to be, your final ruling will have to be delayed until after I get some feedback from them. the association, the condo association. Anything else you want to add, Roger?
No, I mean, it's not an issue that's, fall on your sword for us. I mean, we'll do whatever everybody wants, but it seems like the pediment will look better. I mean, it's not our building. I mean, we just need to have a sign. But again, I think it makes sense to exercise judgment rather than blindly follow a rule that may not apply to a particular situation.
And I would like your opinion. So you have two options for the sign that goes between the window. One's smaller and narrow, one's wider and fatter. So if you guys don't mind, maybe you could look at those two pictures.
Was it determined the original use of the pediment?
It's unknown.
What's that?
The original use of the pediment is unknown.
I have no idea what the pediment was originally used for. Actually, if you blow up a little bit on the pediment, what's interesting, on the right-hand side and the left-hand side, is almost like a maritime swirl of sorts. It's a really cool looking pediment, and it sits there, and it's kind of an enigma. I have no idea why it's there. It doesn't appear that there was any sign there previously. It could have been made for a sign, but you have to ask yourself, of all the buildings you see, how often do you see a pediment so grandly? There you go, that's a good picture. You can see this kind of like work on the left-hand side. It almost looks like waves. You see those three little things to the underneath there? It's a really cool looking pediment, with this kind of presence to it. And I would argue that they're missing an opportunity if they don't let us put a sign up there. I mean, it's just...
Right. Arguably, the sign blends in more up there and is less obvious. And
So
What is the color in the background? Yellow?
it's
Gold?
going to be... I told them ultimately I wanted it to match the mortar color, and they said they could do that. The mortar color, it doesn't show up that good over here, but it's kind of it's a beige color. It's an old-fashioned, You can see the mortar color more clearly on the smaller sign at the front door. So, I don't know if you want to wait until I get more information from the sign company, from the homeowners association.
So what are they considering the cornice? That's the first question.
Well, I'm guessing the cornice is where the little, I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't know.
Is it above the row lock? Is that what they're considering as the coursing above, the 8 courses above the row lock, considered cornice to them?
I think that would be my interpretation of a cornice, but you could say that this is a part of the cornice.
Yeah, that cap on top that runs across the top, that sandstone would be considered the cornice maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering, if you get shot down, could you lower that sign into that portion?
Oh, that's an idea. I hadn't considered that. Huh.
Right, in between the row lock.
Yeah, in between the row lock. It would look better than between the windows.
Between the window, because you're not gonna have any sight lines to that from lower. So.
I like that idea. That's a good idea.
Either that, Jonathan, or is there a consideration to do pin-mounted letters in lieu of a sheet good on that product? So it's just the blue letters themselves freestanding without a backdrop. It might blend in a little bit better, and the residents might maybe appreciate it a little better if they're just pin-mounted letters.
Yeah, but it would look good. I mean, maybe when we actually take this before the Land Condominium Association and Property Owners Association, maybe there's some dialogue. I don't know. I have no idea. I've not been before, then
It would be easy to Photoshop out the gold and just leave the blue letters there.
oh yeah. I like that idea.
So we can make a provisional recommendation, correct?
Oh, okay, all right, I'll go for that.
I mean, until you get solidified answered from,
Yeah, I mean, you could motion to approve contingent on property owners' approval or condominium association, whatever the actual term is called.
Well, there's two, there's the Land Condominium Association and the Property Owners Association. Those two groups are kind of
and
joined.
how visible sightline is this from their properties? I mean, is it abundantly clear that you can see this?
You can see this from a distance, I mean, this property sits up on top of the
Yeah,
hill.
that's true. It's
But the size of the sign that would be in that pediment is somewhat insignificant.
Yeah.
You're not gonna see until you drive up to the building. And this side of the building sits in shadow pretty much all day. So every picture you see of this, it's all in shadow.
Okay, and the last portion is the sidewalk repair. Do you want?
Yes, so the sidewalk repair, I have two pictures, there it is. So the sidewalk is damaged from years of, I don't know, being a sidewalk. And so that's a good picture of it. So we were gonna replace, you don't happen to have a pointer, do you? Oh,
No.
no, okay, so we were gonna replace the section that leads out from the door to this area and then across this area. So in this picture, in the next picture, I'll show you the detail. So it's gonna go from pretty much like a T shape, okay? From there to there and to the building over there. And then this section over here would be cut and a 10-foot piece would be put there. And it would have the same rounded bullnose detail. And I do have, and I forgot to bring it, samples of sidewalk. I actually had the concrete guy make up a couple of samples of sidewalk because the concrete companies are not that, how can I say,
Sophisticated.
yeah, they're not into like custom making concrete. So, but I did get them to make us a couple of pieces. I don't know how specific you need to be.
What about the color and aggregate to match the existing?
Yeah, so part of my challenge is that this could either be patched, and that could be more artistic, and the color could be adjusted, or to replace 4 inches of concrete for this distance, you really need the company to mix up concrete. And so they did make samples, and what I was thinking we would do, because it has an exposed aggregate, is that after the concrete is poured, we would sprinkle some additional sand that has more of the original color and more aggregate on top, and work that in so that we could adjust it, because I'm not confident that when we get the concrete, it's going to have that gray. It's not going to have that gray, because they said they wouldn't do anything other than sort of variations on Portland cement. So we're going to have to work in at the end our own, how can I say, surface to match, and we can do that.
Okay.
But I also need the condo association's approval for this, and I guess maybe you can give a conditional approval for concrete repairs with like-kind materials and finish or something like
Yeah.
that.
Comments on any of these topics discussed? Let's start with the first sign, the first small sign at the front and back of the building. Is there any objections or comments to those signs?
Now, I like your suggestion, number one, of either lowering it just,
You're just talking about the small
Below
sign.
We're talking about the small sign, Richard.
oh, the small
little-
sign, oh, the very first one.
The front and back door.
I got no comment,
so
that's
there's no issues.
straightforward.
All right, second, on the larger sign, comments.
Our guidelines say you can't obscure or damage a character-defining feature. You yourself said you've never seen anything like this. It really stands out. So maybe it is a character-defining feature of the building. I'm not so sure it certainly doesn't damage it. And I don't necessarily think it obscures it, but I just thought I'd raise the point. See if anybody had thoughts on that.
I think if we made a motion to maybe the pin mounted letters in lieu of a flat board signage there, that would help with that sort of transparency of the lettering and the architectural feature of the pediment. So I think there should be, in my opinion, there should be a provisional motion that we potentially approve pin-mounted letters on the top pediment, or have a sheet good product, or even a pin-mounted slightly below on the rows of masonry that are above the row lock and between the pediment. What do you guys think about the lower signage? I would say that would be option 3.
Yeah, I think that would be option 3.
Yeah, I agree. It's not nearly as attractive and detracts a little bit from.
Is this the side of the building that faces down the
rest
hill?
of the campus. So the actual front of the building is the other side. This is the back of the
Right,
building.
it's the back side, and it faces that circle and
Faces
going
the
down.
circle and the rest of the Warfield campus.
I can't imagine that the condominium could at any site view see this.
It's on an angle. It's on a skewed angle.
Yeah, but there's also, I mean, maybe in winter, but even in winter, there's a lot of tree in the way. And you'd only have maybe one row of people who could maybe see it from the top deck.
You'd have to have eagle eyes to see this thing. I mean, it sits in the shade. This is the north side of the building. It's in the shade. You'd be
Are
hard.
we talking about seeing it from the townhouses?
Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah, I don't think it's a prayer.
Yeah.
I mean, I go there every day. I don't see how they could possibly see it. We're not gonna illuminate the sign.
Well, that's what you're up against, Roger, is what we're saying. We're not saying you can't see it, but that's what you're up against.
Right, I understand.
Okay,
Yeah, because it would be this way.
Right.
I like the pin mount suggestion.
yeah.
And I would think that it probably would allow more contrast and look better upon
Yeah.
the pattern.
And then, if there's no further discussions on it, what about the sidewalk repair? Comments?
As long as there's an attempt to color match whatever else is there, I don't,
Within reason, I mean.
yeah, within reason.
And this is under all one application, so this could be a nice motion. All right, okay, is there a motion to approve?
I'll motion to approve application number 2024-07 for applied wall signs and sidewalk repair at 6935 Warfield Ave.
Could you make that conditional?
Conditional on the approval of the landowners condominium association and property owners association.
And could you state the recommendations as well?
Sure, and the HDC would recommend placement of pin letter signage on the pediment, and if not possible, then a sheet good application on the masonry above the row lock and below the pediment.
And then lastly, the sidewalk.
Yeah, and also would recommend color matching the sidewalk as closely as possible within reason.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let me get my phone. Roger, any comments before I say goodbye?
Before I hang up on you.
Thank you.
Okay, catch you later.
Yeah, bye.
What is Zito Tech, by the way?
Zateo.
Zateo.
Zateo Tech is a defense industry contractor, and they have these lasers that they use to shoot into air particles to determine if there's anything in there, like, I guess you could say, any kind of disease, pneumonia, anything. So they're big in the defense industry, so the Pentagon has them monitoring the air in the Pentagon for bio weapons and things like that.
That's awesome.
So they're really about to boom, and they're going to be looking for a lot more space. Their particular technology is really pretty cool. Eventually, you'll go to airports and you'll breathe into something, and it'll say if you have COVID or pneumonia or some, disease within seconds. So people don't get on the plane and infect everybody. And the applications are huge.
Okay, lastly this evening, application 2024-08 for a fence at greenhouse at 7546 Norwood Avenue.
So this is the house that I live in on Norwood Avenue. If you could turn it once. Maybe again. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so that's Norwood Avenue. So if you were standing sort of in the parking lot behind the French Twist, my house is that first one up on the hill there. It's kind of obscured by trees and all sorts of other things. And what you're seeing here is a wooden fence on this 40-foot dimension, and then a greenhouse in that little square over there. And on the right-hand side is a deer fence. You're familiar with deer fencing? It's kind of, big. And I just tired of the deer eating all my vegetables and flowers. So, and this way, I can have a nice, how can I say, small little yard to deal with. And then I gave you a picture of a greenhouse that that's the fence material. You can see it ages and it looks like that. When it's new, it's brightly colored. It's kind of an innocuous looking fence. And then I joined a Facebook greenhouse group, and I saw this picture. I go, I could do that. I have a collection of doors and windows because I've been in the restoration business. It's not going to look exactly like this, but it's more like this is the spirit of what I was thinking. I could get rid of, or I could actually use all the doors and windows I've been collecting for the last 50 years. Not all of them, but some of them. And so that's the concept. And so that's basically it. That's the plan. So if you look at the bigger picture, look at where, I guess my question to you all is, do you have any thoughts on this particular layout or anything like that? There you go.
Well, is that front fence that connects to the greenhouse, is that the white picket as you described in the photograph, or?
Yeah, it's the one that turns darker when it gets older. That I showed you that picture.
You're leaving it natural. You're not going to stain it or
Yeah.
paint it, right?
It starts out like new, and then these are the same fence, just after a period of time it gets dark.
But is that what you're calling the deer fence?
No.
No.
The deer fence, I didn't bring you a picture of the deer fence.
Okay.
It's just it's a netting, it's a black net,
Okay.
so it's almost invisible.
Yeah.
So according to page 47 on accessory buildings, new accessory buildings should be designed to be compatible with the size, shape, design, and materials of the principal building on the property. And I would say, so maybe you can describe this. What is the roof material? Are you going to use that PVC on the roof?
I was thinking of some sort of PVC for the roof. I wanted a clear roof.
Yeah.
And I could make it have the same pitch as the house.
Mm-hmm.
I could even use, similar type windows. Just so happens, I don't have a collection of 9 light windows. So, I could.
I don't think we have a problem with the fencing material. The only thing I would say is that we're approving something that we really don't know what you're going to build for the greenhouse. That's the problem.
And I understand that, and I couldn't tell you until I actually get started. Because so when you see the people who build greenhouses like this, they get all their windows and doors and they kind of lay them on the ground, and then they see how they look, and then they form the structure to match. This is going to be hidden from view. No one's going to see this from the street.
Yeah.
It's not competing with the house. The house is pretty prominent when you go by it on the street, but this, I mean, I could make it kind of like the house. I mean, you know,
Your house is the marigold one, right? And the yellow?
it's
Gold.
green, well,
green.
it's dark green. Let's see, you can't really see it. I didn't bring any pictures of it. But it's, you can go to Google Earth and take a look at it if you like.
So you definitely know where you're gonna put it, though, that's set in stone.
Yeah, if I put it in that location, it's kind of hidden from anybody's view. You can't see it from.
Well, that's the
normal-
next item on here, is new accessory buildings should be located so they cannot be seen from public right away.
Yeah, so this will be clearly, it's kind of, you can't even see my house, but there it is. You're definitely not going to see what's behind my house.
Oh, yeah, you got the same picture.
You just went up, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to see with the fence. Okay. Any additional comments or questions?
So you're not sure what it's gonna look like until,
I get closer to building it. I mean, you could approve the size and the foundation. I can come back and show it to you before I put it all together.
yeah, I mean, presumably you're gonna know what it looks like before you.
I will know, but like a few days before I start building it,
Just
I'll
stand
know.
back and go, that's what it looks like.
It's gonna, I mean, I think if I understand the concept that you would like it to be compatible to the house, I could work in that, goal. I mean, the house,
I mean, certainly weighed against the fact that nobody can see it.
Well, I mean, if it was fluorescent orange and green and blue and stood out between the trees where you want to build, you'd be able to see the color difference between your historic home and the building that you're, the accessory building you're building would be a different story. So we're not privy to color, that's one thing. And so we'd hope that you would do something to the windows to make it maybe conform to the house a little bit more so it's more aesthetically pleasing to, like, if it had the same color scheme or.
no, I could definitely do that. I mean, it's easily adjusted.
Yeah. So I think we should make a motion to approve the size and location of the greenhouse and,
I think you can say, make it as compatible looking with the house in terms of color.
but we're not privy to color.
Well, but because it has to be compatible with the house, I think you can say that.
Okay.
I think that you're not saying it has to be, green. You're saying it has to look okay with the house, compatible with the house.
Aesthetically,
Aesthetically
yeah.
similar
Size-
to the house.
Size, shape, design. material.
Design.
Yeah,
I
pitch.
think that would fall under design.
Look, you've done enough historic building renovations, you know what you're doing, so we're not judging your character on what you're gonna build. I'm sure you're gonna build something very nice. We're just trying to make sure that, falls within the guidelines and everybody approves what you're gonna be building, which we don't know what you're gonna be building.
Well, I got the the picture now.
Yeah.
I can follow that. I'm happy to do that. So,
Okay.
the question, do you have any questions about the deer fence or the other fence?
No.
Okay.
Richard, do you have something else?
Well, I have to admit, this is a personal question. You're okay with the material on the roof? I mean, when you build a greenhouse, you want the sun to be able to come through. It's not like you're gonna put asphalt on the roof.
No, you can't.
So, and what makes it a personal question is I'm designing a greenhouse. And I might go to Jonathan and ask him for his advice.
Some of his leftover windows.
And I have some extra windows if you're interested.
Okay.
And I know Brian has some extra windows. So windows are plentiful.
You just gotta use the right material because that stuff will yellow over time.
Mhm.
The material on the roof, if you
Yeah.
don't use the right material, it'll yellow and will turn.
Yeah.
sunlight UV will tear it up. Okay, is there a motion to approve this application? Or do we want to make a provisional? I mean, I think we should make a motion to approve as long as it meets the guidelines that we're talking about previously, is meeting the aesthetic of the original house, potential color scheme to either blend in or
Compliment.
complement the house. And as long as the greenhouse is hidden potentially from sight as much as possible with the fencing and location, so be it approved.
What he said, I,
Okay.
Alright, is there,
for 2408,
okay,
7548 Norwood Avenue.
is there a second?
7546.
75, 40.
So, one question,
What do you think?
what's the foundation gonna be in the slab? Just
It's gonna be block. It's actually, part of my design is slightly different than this. The thing about greenhouses, it's best if you can have it slightly below grade, so it's earth, how can I say, bound, and you get the advantage of the,
solar heat gain.
yeah, the earth's temperature, which is cooler in the summer and warmer in the winter, so it'll be a block foundation, but everything above the grade will be like this.
Alright, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you all very
Thank
much,
you.
and I appreciate all the work that you do.
We'll have to drive by and see how.
I would be happy to invite you all over. Right before I put it up, I'll say, now, these are the windows, and this is the door.
And here's a hammer, put it up.
There's a caulk gun.
Thank you all very much.
Work party.
Caulking all the windows.
Well, I'm on Springfield Avenue, Jonathan, so I might be,
I know, next to where Ed used to live. I've
Yeah.
been watching the wonderful work you've been doing on your property.
thank you.
Marvelous.
Liaison report?
I do not have any updates for you. We will have a meeting in April. I do have
Thank you
an
all.
application.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Jonathan. I do have an application for that, so we will have one in April, and that's all I got.
Okay. Any care report?
Nothing going on. Everything's going
Smooth as ice.
smooth as can be.
Okay. No other commission members being added at this time, so.
No, because we are
full
full.
house. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn meeting? Motion to adjourn. Second? All in favor?
Right.
Motion carries. Thank you. What were you doing at your house today, the chainsaw?
We took out two of those